Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th annual Abbey Charity Raft Race 1990, where the first competitors are coming through the bridge as I speak. This should be, if they've been going in the correct order, number 1, the Jolly Collier, captained by David Allsop. It's not the one. And the first raft over is in fact number 3, Challenger, captained by S. Hill, successfully over the weir. There's not much to this raft actually. It's like 2 canoes strapped together. So small, there's hardly room for the number. That number is 11, so they're obviously not going off in 1, 2, 3 order. Number 11, captained by Andrew Heaney, is called Grit 1. The sequel, Grit 2, we'll be seeing later, I presume. Here comes number 2. This is Bobby Boat, question mark. Captained by G. Kemp, sponsored by the Coach and Horses at Horsley. This is a dinghy-style raft. And they've got stuck, well and truly. You're going to have to get out. 2 of them, 3 of them out now. I think the other 3 are going to have to get out if they're not too careful. They're being caught up by the following raft, which is number 1, the Jolly Collier. Come on, a big heave-ho. I don't think they're going to have the quickest time. Number 2 in all sorts of trouble as number 1 glides through the weir, relatively speaking. Well, it did look very professional, did this raft number 2. A dinghy-style raft, I described it. But it's as if they're pushing a lead weight at the moment. So all I can say at the moment is that number 1 is going to be a good deal quicker than number 2. Here's number 10, Conquest 6. Captained by Neil Lomas, sponsored by Hassel Holmes Trent Limited. Looks as if they've done this before. They've come over the weir very expertly indeed. They've taken no time at all. And poor old Bobby Boat, number 2, still having problems. No, you don't go that way, lads. I think they've found the way now. They've got their direction back. I noticed there are water bombs being thrown from the bridge. I think we ought to disqualify some of the spectators, don't you? Here comes a fully manned crew. Of course, the rules state there must be a minimum of 6 and a maximum of 7. 6 in this one. If you'd like to turn yourselves around, lads, I'll see what your number is. This is a very fetching green-coloured raft. It's number 12, and it's A-Plant, captained by Ron Fern. Hi, Ron. And they're all getting out. They've done this before. As opposed to Bobby Boat number 2. They've lost their balloons. I'm sure that's not going to bother them too much. They nearly capsized that one, but they're safely over. Here comes number 15, Thompson Hire, captained by W. Palmer, sponsored by Thompson Hire. Not the smoothest of attempts to get over the weir. Look at 20. My word, this looks a quick one. The first rafting equivalent of a snake. Cross between a snake and a canoe.
Nico!
Here comes the next raft. Another one that looks like two canoes strapped together in a catamaran design. And this is number 21. I beg your pardon, it's number 24. 21, by the way, Bemrose Blue pulled out. There's been a lot of flu around. Raft number 16 as well from the Royal School for the Deaf have had to pull out, along with raft number 35, the City of Derby, number 126. That still leaves 35 rafts. That's 24, and that's Grit 2, the sequel to Grit 1. Another raft from the Derbyshire Grit Amateur Rafters. Here comes the SS Titanic, still afloat. And very well dressed too. Hang on a moment, I thought the maximum crew was 7. There's 10 in that one. Somebody just said no wonder the Titanic sunk with so many aboard. And this one is disintegrating as I speak. Everybody's getting out. They're either getting out to push it over the weir or they're getting out because they've had enough. I think that one should have come equipped with lifeboats, don't you? Of course, the Titanic did sink in very cold waters. Perhaps not quite as cold as the Atlantic Ocean, but it's still pretty nippy today. Ah, part of the side of their vessel has sailed away down the river. And at the moment, there is only one crew member aboard, and there is another crew member, aided by another just now, who's managed to save it from both collapsing and putting that raft out of the race. As I speak, though, number 29 comes through. Just a little bit quicker than the Titanic. Number 29 is the George. Very quickly over the weir, and they look to have a very quick raft too. And as the Titanic struggles to put its raft and its crew members together so they can continue the course, here come some more rafts.
They've gone completely the other way.
Oh, Bob's going to swim.
Now, there's a bit of an argy-bargy going on here between these two rafts. Number 27, Motorist Supercare, captained by Ian Bowley. And the weir doesn't seem to like that raft too much. Well, it didn't at first. Oh, dear. Has he done himself some damage, let alone the raft? He seems to be okay, but they've stopped for the moment to have a discussion about what to do next. Meanwhile, the raft alongside it is negotiating the weir just a little bit more easier. And I think that one is number 4. That's Kon-Tiki, captained by R. Atherton, sponsored by Butterley Brick. Oh dear. I thought there was a problem with the Motorist Supercare. Not enough care in the construction of that one because it's split. And it does look as if they're out of the race, unless they continue as two separate rafts. There's a very elaborately constructed raft which has just gone through the weir. I'm trying to work out the number of that one. Here come the Licorice All Sorts, an all-ladies crew. They've got to be in line for best dressed raft, I'd have thought. And they've actually gone across the weir extremely well. Congratulations to the Licorice All Sorts. But 2 or 3 of them have just fallen in. There goes another raft, which looks as if it's made of papier-mâché, actually. But it's gone through the weir okay, no problems. Here comes a very simple-looking raft. 6 oil drums. Whether it's simple to actually raft with, I'm not sure, but they seem to have done okay. Here comes number 5, Would You Come and Join Us crew, captained by Phil Clemens, sponsored by the Heritage Brewery. That looks a very fragile raft to me. And the crew are getting very wet. Here's number 32, the River Nick Itch, captained by Mr. Bishop. And I see they've got the face of a shark on their raft.
Come on, Rick!
Number 23, this is the Bluebell from the Bluebell Inn at Kirk Langley. Being overtaken, though, by the much quicker 33, Nerps Ella. What on earth is a Nerps Ella? And only 4 in that crew. What happened to the other 2? It's supposed to be a minimum of 6, isn't it? Have they been lost further up the river, I wonder? Here comes another raft. You've lost some crew members. Wait. She's coming. They don't appear to have a number, unless they've lost it. Some of these rafts, they've lost numbers, they've lost balloons, they've lost their ballast, and they seem to have lost crew members as well. Is that 22, or are those painted squiggles? It's Thomas Hills, anyway. One of their crew members in a very fetching clown outfit. And probably feeling a bit like a clown as well. That is number 22, the Fun House. Here comes a ferocious-looking raft. It's number 38. It's the Boar's Head Wrecking Crew. And they're throwing water at us. Disqualify them immediately. That's right, throw some flower bombs at them. That's what they deserve. We'll sort that lot out later. There was also a raft from last year called Maggie Thatcher, which I noticed was veering towards the right the whole time. Groans from the spectators behind me. Thank you. I still have to watch what I say. I'm too close to the edge here. This one looks as if it's being just kept above water by the balloons. Composed of about 6 oil cans and 6 complete wallies. And in fact, they seem to have lost a crew member because there's only 5 now. They've also lost their race number. I think they're due to lose several balloons. They're also about to lose their minds, I think, if they can't cross over this weir. But they managed to do it fairly successfully. And there's a crew member who's decided to give his own raft a bashing in the way that John Cleese decided to give his Morris Minor a good telling off. Talking of John Cleese, what's happened to the raft called Wanda? Perhaps it's taken aboard too much fish. They look very sedate, don't they? Belying their dragon frontage. Very nicely turned out. Got their own seats as well. Matching paddles. Notice how the paddles match the raft. It's a very fetching number, that. Somebody has just shouted to this raft, it is a race, you know. I think they're just here for the ride, actually, and having a good time. Hey! And getting some flower bombs into the bargain on the back of their necks. Give that man an award for being the nearest entrant to drown. I think he's gone further into the water than any other raft so far. And the raft itself is gathering quite a bit of water at the moment. One spectator has just remarked that this craft looks like it's manned by the group Madness. And let's face it, you've got to have a bit of madness to compete in this event. This is number 28 and it's Booze and Blues. With a name like that, they may well have had a few last night and be suffering the consequences. Quite a simple construction, this craft. Some nice colours there. Whether it goes or not is another matter. But they seem to have done all right, getting over the weir. They did look quite cool in their sunglasses. I think they've lost a bit of that cool now.
Umbrellas. Yeah, well, you did at the start. No, that's one at the start. Well, that's one halfway. So should we make that? Before it goes to the before then. Well, not mate, that's all right. I haven't seen it disappear by the way. Should we select this man? Everyone paddles in there, ready?
It's number 36, is it? 26. I thought 26 had already been by. I've got motorist supercare for 26. Perhaps this really is motorist supercare. And the raft that broke up was from another crew. Yes, this is definitely motorist supercare. Even I've got the intelligence to see they've got it written on the side of their raft. They've all decided to get out because they've got stuck. It really is interesting to see the novel ways in which they try and get over this first difficult part of the weir. Some decide to get out, some decide to lean on the back. Some decide to hit the raft with their paddles. And as motorists Supercare struggle, number 37, Emdale, are already getting their craft over. I think they've done this before. They sort of leapfrogged over the weir there. They've got stuck again, though. Emdale crew members have decided to try the water, see how deep it is. And one of them is enjoying the water so much he's decided to stay in there. Motorist Supercare have just made it. Now this one is listing to the right. Is it the young Tories, perhaps?
It's to the left, isn't it?
They're listing to the right from where I can see. Oh, they seem to have righted themselves. No, it's definitely bobbing left and right, this one. So it's going to be an interesting trip down the weir. Like most rafts, they've got stuck halfway, and they're liable to get stuck on the final part as well. Number 34, that is, Lewis's of Spondon. Who are certainly enjoying the water. Just when you thought the 10th annual Darley Abbey Raft race was over, then along comes one of the best dressed rafts of the lot. This is either a raft or a spacecraft. Flashing lights, fancy dress, a very elaborate craft, but one that doesn't seem to be particularly quick moving, which may be why they're one of the stragglers. It's got an arsenal of flower bombs. They're actually being fired very professionally from inside the raft. And there's a monster that's just emerged from the middle.
This has got to be number 20, hasn't it?
This is number 30, the Flying Torser, captained by Chris Stokes from Hall and Tours. They're the sponsors, and they must be very proud of the way this craft has been put together. They've obviously put a lot of effort into the fancy dress aspect. I don't think they've paid too much attention to the aerodynamics of the craft. Now, this could be very dodgy. It's certainly one of the best dressed, if not the best dressed craft, but it's certainly got to be the slowest. We're getting there, lads, was the confident cry from their captain. And I think they are too, they've made it. Congratulations. And may I wish you many greetings from the planet Earth. Have a safe trip home. I hope it's a safer trip than the one you've had at the moment. And the crew has broken up as well. But he's decided to come back, the one that had fallen out with the rest of his crew. And they'll now make their way to the finish, which will probably be sometime tomorrow morning.